Hello, my name is Stuart Mease, Executive Director of Employee Relations at Wake Forest University. We're here with you again, giving you a current update on college recruiting and just some of the things that we're seeing from our employers and from our time interacting with a lot of different individuals. We want to give you an update here today. I want to start out with just a general outlook on the economy, courtesy of our good friends at Chimera Economics. Chris Chimera is a wonderful economist, and learned a lot from her over the years, and she is producing a number of really good webinars, and I highly suggest you follow her and try and learn some other things from her as well. But what she's indicating is that, and as most economists are, the widespread availability of a vaccine is probably the single most important factor of the economy getting back on track. Some of the models that they've done and some of our colleagues in the economic world believe that if a vaccine comes around by the end of 2020, that we'll see the job market back to where it was pre-COVID by second quarter of 2021. If that vaccine is widely available, say mid 2021, you're looking at a labor market back to its pre-COVID level around fourth quarter of 2021. So not only is Chris saying this, but a lot of others are saying this, is that is one of the single most important factors. Many people believe that this is a sharp and short recession that we're in, but many folks are very bullish about where the economy is going, because there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the economy like it was during the Great Recession. Another interesting point is what they shared, is that by fourth quarter of 2020, so really in the next 4 to 5 months, they're predicting or forecasting that 90% of pre-COVID jobs in what they categorize as the professional services industry, which you see a lot of our students wanting to go into, and they mention company headquarters, accounting, consulting, that they're going to be about 90% back to where it was pre-COVID. So that is certainly very encouraging news as well. Another interesting thing with all the work from home arrangements that people are having right now, especially our 2020 graduates going to start their jobs if they haven't already, working in a remote environment, is saying that there's just anecdotal evidence right now that some individuals are moving to more smaller cities, and what is the impact that's going to have on regional economies, both from a positive and negative. Something that is going to be very interesting moving forward as it relates to economic development officials trying to bolster their economies as well. So location becomes even more powerful moving forward, as one of the great urbanists, Richard Florida, has shared with us many years in the past. In terms of industries and companies that are hiring right now, certainly for students seeking employment in consulting and banking, these firms are hiring now for interns and full-time opportunities. So if you're a student out there wanting to be in the consulting and banking sector, you really need to go to Handshake and start applying for these jobs, because quite frankly, they're going to get more candidates than they have spots for. They're not going to leave these opportunities open. There's going to be so many candidates there that they have kind of the pick of the litter. So if you want these roles, you really need to get involved in that, in the processes now, because they are basically believing that the early bird gets the worm, and there's still great talent that's available, and they're very bullish on the economy moving forward. Other industries and jobs seeing the biggest demand are mortgage related, especially with the historically low rates right now. That's causing a lot of opportunities for individuals to work in that industry, specifically for banks in the Charlotte and New York market. So if there's people that are interested in that, I would highly recommend you engaging and looking at some of those industries and companies. Also, with the emergence of the whole COVID vaccine and the pandemic, you're seeing a lot of pharmaceutical supply chain jobs are reemerging in the U.S. So the whole supply chain is kind of moving back to the U.S., and there's a need for more talent in that particular sector. Also, what you've seen, contact tracers in certain cities and municipalities, regions. There's a lot of need for those individuals, government workers, manufacturing, specifically related, anything, parts and so forth related to the auto industry, as they're now beginning to produce more vehicles, and just general supply chain are areas of opportunity as well. Now, from an employer activity moving forward, what we're seeing again from some of our employers is firms are becoming more hesitant in hiring students that require sponsorship because of a lot of the policies that have been put into place right now and just the uncertainty of that. We certainly hope that changes in the future, but we have heard from a couple of employers that are a little bit on the fence right now moving forward, who have been some of our top supporters in the past. So we certainly hope that changes for our international student population. And you're seeing a lot more employers be interested in any type of diversity recruitment program, even more important in terms of what we've seen here in the last few months. And we're going to be producing our Diversity Matters, a nationally award-winning Diversity Matters, again this year. There'll be more information for employers if you're watching this, and students to participate. Recruiters continue to be concerned about their employer brand in a digital environment. A lot of employers invested tremendous amounts of time and sweat equity coming on campuses to make sure that their company brand is at the forefront in the minds of students. Now they're a little bit leery as to how am I going to do that in a Zoom setting? How can I keep the pipeline continuing despite not being there? And so there's a number of ways in which we're trying to help employers with that, as third parties are trying to do that as well. From a career center activities moving forward, it appears that most of these schools are going to be virtual for the upcoming fall semester. There's no surprise there. Many virtual platforms are being used and considered by these employers, so it is going to be a little bit more onus on the employers to be more savvy with some of these. It appears that Handshake is going to be one of the tools that is going to emerge as a favorite because of the investment that they're making in the number of career centers that are involved in Handshake. More to come on that. And just as, I mean, we can say this for probably any industry now, but as the career centers are preparing for fall recruiting schedules, just like companies are, everything is subject to change, dates, times, platforms. We're hoping to have a university decision sometime today on some updated knowledge about the fall semester. We don't have that at this time, but in subsequent market updates will inform you of that. And then finally, for your next step for job seekers, a couple of things that I would encourage you to think about. We have one employer that is actually increasing their number of internships and college recruiting this time. Really stresses the importance of students with any free elective courses they have to upskill with credentials or skill sets that are in high demand by at least their organization, but many others. And they stress the importance of data analytics and Tableau, Power BI. Those types of skill sets are tremendously important during this time from that one employer. We also have recruiters that are indicating how important it is for students whose offers, but whether it's full-time or intern, whose offers have been rescinded due to the economy and during the pandemic. The importance of how you respond to that, because more than likely when the economy turns around, there's more confidence in these positions. These employers are going to be going back to those individuals that they've already vetted and extended an offer to. And so I would encourage students that if that's happened to you, stay in touch with those companies. Just because they rescinded the offer does not mean that that they don't want to hire you in the future. Don't take it personally. It's just business on that sense. Stay in touch with these individuals. There's probably likely another crack at it if you're an intern to try and get either another internship if you're have more time left or a full-time offer. So stay in touch with those recruiters that you've already established a relationship with, and don't burn any bridges in terms of your response. And speaking of response, that's another thing that has been common throughout this, is that employers are really interested in how students are going to adapt to the challenges, how they're going to be flexible during this time, and any examples of overcoming challenges. This grit and resiliency is becoming more and more important in terms of what recruiters are looking for in students. So any ways that you can demonstrate that through examples especially during this time, is going to be advantageous for you. So those are a couple of things we have for job seekers. So that's what we have for you this week. We appreciate your interest. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. We capture all this information, crowdsource, and share it back to everyone. So until next time, hang in there, and we'll be here helping you along the way. Thanks.